Hey there, what's up internet? My name is BlackLightAttack, and today I've got another NU battle for you. This time it's a revision of the team I was using last time. Really the only two pokes that made it from the previous team were Leopard and Simis Sage. And overall it seems to be a much more balanced team. It seems to work a lot better, but there is one problem that it has, and that is a glaring weakness to bug attacks, which the last one did have as well, but normally that doesn't come off as too much of a problem unless they're using a lot of U-turners or if they have Butterfree on their team. But unfortunately, this guy has a lot of U-turning going on in this match, as you'll see in just a minute. He's using a very interesting team. I see a couple of interesting choices. He's got the Golduck, which you don't see too often. He's got Zebstrika, which you don't see too often. Regigigas, who you never see for some reason, even though I think he's an amazing Pokemon, you never see Regigigas. And Coughing, of all things, over Wheezing. I thought that was really interesting. But anyway, you may notice that my background is pink. I decided to go for the pink background for this one, and that is because I love this match. I heart this match. This was one of the most fun matches I've ever had, and you guys will see why in a minute. But anyway, let's get right into it. So anytime I see a Ninjask on the team, I always assume it's going to be in the lead spot, so I send out something that I think can counter the Substitute Sword Stance set, which is the most common, and I figure he's going to think that I want to switch out Leopard since he will die to a X-Scissor and just Encore him into the Substitute when he predicts the switch, but that's not how it goes. He just goes into his Natu, reflects the Encore, which doesn't do anything since I haven't used a move before that, and I'm just going to sub, hoping that he's going to switch out, but no, his U-turn does actually break it, which I guess is only because it's super effective, because Natu has no attack whatsoever. He's going to go back into his Ninjask, and he knows that I'm going to be wanting to set up substitutes now, and I know that he's U-turning, so I'm going to go in my camera up to take the U-turn because it's resisted, and this does around a third, which is quite a lot, so I'm pretty positive that that guy has to be Choice Banded, because his attack is pretty high, but it's not that high. After Choice Band, it's going to be pretty dangerous, so I want to get out my Stealth Rocks as soon as possible, but he does have the Natu to bounce it back. I was not predicting a Hydro Pump here. I don't know what I predicted, but I thought that he's going to expect me to switch, so obviously I want to stay in. I was hoping that he would switch out into his Natu to reflect the rocks back, and so I could tag him with a Lava Plume, but unfortunately he doesn't, and I am stuck wanting to get my rocks up and still cannot because Natu is hiding just around the corner, so I'm going to pull a double switch here and go into my Tentacool, just go straight for the Scald, and that's going to get the burn, even though it does next to no damage, and the burn is really useful, so because that's going to whittle that little guy down and stop his U-turns. I could probably now survive, my substitute on Leopard could probably survive a U-turn from Natu now, but oh well. So he's going to pull off a very nice double switch here. He's going to scare me out with Zebstrika and then just go straight into his Golduck while I switch out into my Head Camel in charge. I thought he was going to go for the Volt Switch again because he likes to U-turn a lot on this team. Interesting without a Rapid Spinner. So I'm just going to switch out fearing a Hydro Pump and go straight into my setup. Simis Sage here, the one that you guys saw in the last round. And he's going to take the Hydro Pump pretty well. And I know I outspeed this thing. And I'm really hoping that he's going to send in Ninjask at ×4 resist the Seed Bomb, so I'm just going to go straight for the Acrobatics. Unfortunately, he sends in Natu instead, and this does do a really good chunk to Natu, but oh well. So I mistakenly go for the Hone Claws rather here, and that was a big mistake. I should have just gone straight for the second Acrobatics and finished off the Natu, because now he's going to get to U-turn out back into his Ninjask, which I really can't do anything about, so I should have just finished him off, and now he gets to save another turn and keep that Natu to reflect Stealth Rocks just one more time, which sucks, and I have no choice but to leave my Simis Sage in here to die. Luckily I get the switch initiative, but he just descends to fodder his Natu so that I don't get the switch initiative and we're on a blind switch. So that was a pretty good move, I have to say. So I'm going to go out into my Haunter because he's kind of a secret weapon. This isn't my sub Will-O-Wisp set. This is actually a Scarfed Haunter, which outspeeds everything in the tier pretty much. Surprisingly, it doesn't kill him. The Sludge Bomb does not kill him, and now he's left at no health. He revealed to me after that he has a decent amount of health investment, of HP investment on this Ninjask, which is why he was able to live that Sludge Bomb. Very sad day for me. So he's locked into a Night Slash now. I think I can survive this. I probably should have gone into Meganium, but I think I could survive this. I thought he was going to switch out so that he can U-turn some more, and I would just get up my stealth rock. No, he just goes for the Night Slash anyway. So good on him, you know, staying in there and going for the Night Slash, because basically now his ninjas can't switch out, or else it's just death fodder. And he's just going to finish off my camera up. I decided nothing really wants to take a Night Slash. Again, I probably should have gone into Meganium to scare him out. I go into Splinter, my Leopard, because I know he resists and he's going to be able to take this pretty well. I'm just going to finish him off with the foul play. Again, I'm wondering why I didn't go into Meganium here, why I didn't save Leopard's life, because Leopard's very squishy even though he resists that. So he's just going to go straight into his Zebstrika, and now I know this thing gets fire attacks, it gets Flare Blitz and Overheat, but I'm going to assume that he's going to go for the Electric Stab anyway, just switching to Meganium to resist it, since my special wall is Tentacle. But I figure that normally I think Zebstrika is physically based, I think, so I don't really want to take like a Volt Tackle or something with Tentacle, even though if it was an uninvested, the Volt Switch wouldn't do too much. He goes into his Coughing here, and I assume he's going to want to get a Will-O-Wisp up, so I'm just going to switch into Tentacle, who doesn't really mind that so much. And he's going to go back to his Zebstrika. I'm going to get up my first layer of Toxic Spikes here, and I know that he doesn't have a Rapid Spinner. I know he likes to switch out a lot, so it's going to be really important to get my entry hazards up. I predict that he's going to predict my switch, so I stay in and just go for the second layer of Toxic Spikes. He goes for the Overheat, which does next to nothing, because Tentacle is a fucking boss. He's my squishy, and he shall be my squishy. And he decides to go back out into Coughing, which I don't really know what he could really do, but I'm gonna double switch at the same time and go back into Leopard, because he is a fucking beast, and I don't really think that he has too much that can outspeed me anymore. So I'm just gonna go for the sub, predicting the Will-O-Wisp again, and that is what he does. So now I am free to start using my annoying little Leopard set here. He's gonna swagger up and basically he just swaggers to raise the opponent's attack and then uses foul play to use the raised attack against them, and then he has substitute and encore to like really screw them up. So he's gonna go for the Clear Smog to see if he can break it. He can't even break a sub from Leopard, which sucks. I really don't know why he went with Coughing over Wheezing. I really don't see any point to that, because there's really nothing much that that Coughing can do that Wheezing can't. And Wheezing has a better special attack stat and can break subs better, and he gets leftovers, and Coughing doesn't really have that much more defense than Wheezing, and Wheezing has a better HP stat. So anyway, we're just going to go with a little Stalwart here. I'm going to keep subbing and foul playing and swaggering, and he's going to keep going for Clear Smogs to break it. So I go for the second swagger, and he's now at +4, which I'm thinking this guy probably carries a coverage move like Thunderbolt. Obviously, he carries the Clear Smog, and it actually would have been nice if I would have let one of these Clear Smogs hit. The reason I didn't want them to hit is because if it hits me, then he loses all of his attack buffs, which will stop my foul play from doing so much damage. And right here, he realizes, he even said over the chat, he was like, shit, I know what I should have been doing this whole time. He has Payback. What the fuck is he doing carrying Payback? I had no idea that Coughing even got Payback, let alone why he would run it. But now I realize he's just going to break my sub, because he's at +4 and paybacking me, so I'm just really hoping that a foul play could finish him off, and of course it doesn't, and he's just going to hit me with a +4 payback, which is just ridiculous. That is just the funniest thing. We were laughing about that, and anyway, I'm just going to go into my Meganium to finish him off. Even though he resists it, he's not a special wall, and he's got like no health left, so... that was just a really interesting exchange between that Coughing and that Leopard, because all of a sudden he remembered he had Payback, and I was like, what the fuck, come on, man. So he's gonna go into Zebstrika, who's gonna get the poison, and he's taking the entry hazard. I'm surprised he went for the Volt Switch here. I was actually expecting a Thunderbolt, but he does go for the Volt Switch here. I was really surprised by that, because he's just racking up entry hazard damage on himself now just by switching out over and over. He goes into his Regigigas, who I'm not really fearing. I actually expected maybe an Overheat, but that really is not doing too much damage, so I expected Derpasaur to be able to live one of them, and I would just synthesis off the damage, and after that he'd be at -2 and not be looking too good. But, you know, he just goes into his Regigigas, so he's going to start making subs and try to stall out the slow start turns, but he's toxic damaged, and he doesn't really, as you're going to be able to see, he's not really going to be able to hit me very hard with Drain Punch, so he doesn't really have too much hope of stalling me out. So that's quite unfortunate for him. He's just gonna leave in his Regigigas. He's gonna get me paralyzed, which ends up not really doing anything. I don't think I get fully paralyzed once, which is interesting because his coughing also didn't get fully confused once. So this is a very hacks-free game. Anytime anybody crit, it was when the Pokemon was already dead. So this was a nice hacks-free game. Yeah, so this is quite unfortunate for him. He's just gonna sit here and slowly die to toxic damage. I'm not even able to break his subs, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm figuring now that his Zebstrika it has a chance of bringing it back and stopping me. It really does. I don't know what else his Golduck could be carrying. I assume it's got to have like Grass Knot and then maybe like some sort of setup move, maybe Aqua Jet, which is why he didn't really have anything for my Tentacool. But I only saw 2 of his attacks, which is Hydro Pump and Blizzard. And his Zebstrika, I think, has to be Choice Specs or Choice Scarfed. He later revealed to me that it is Choice Specs. The reason that I thought that is because when he went for the Overheat the one time, he just switched out. But yeah, so he's going to go back in, and I have stayed in and predicted the Volt Switch too many times for this guy, so I expect he's going to go for the Overheat. He predicts correctly and goes for the Thunderbolt, and he was like cheering and stuff. I was like, fuck! So unfortunately, Squishy takes a lot of damage from that, and I know that he's locked into that now. And he's not really going to want to take anything from he's not going to want Meganium to come in and resist that. So he pulls off a nice little double switch here, and it goes into his Golduck. So he's also now toxic on that, and now it's getting really close. I'm only down to my walls. He's down to 2 attackers who are going to be pretty predictable. I decide to stay in on Meganium, hoping that he's going to go for the Hydro Pump, just to make sure that I don't switch into my Squishy. And I go for the Giga Drain just because I'm hoping I can live a Blizzard if he goes for the Blizzard, and luckily I do. And I decided to go for the Giga Drain because this thing is probably the bigger threat because it can change its moves. It has the Life Orb, so I'm going to get a little bit of health back from that, and I'm going to get a little bit more health from the Leftovers regeneration. And he's got, I think, 2 or 3 more turns before toxic damage kills him. I'm going to go into my Squishy to take the Overheat that he pretty much has to lock himself into. And he's now at -2. Well, -1 because he has the Choice Specs. And I can't believe it. Squishy lives it. And he's going to go again, and now he's at -3. So that's the big question here. Is Meganium going to be able to live a super effective -3 Overheat from a Choice Spec Zebstrika when he's at about a 1/3 health? And that's really hard because he's physically defensive, not specially defensive. He goes for it, and it does finish him off, and he would have died to toxic damage that turn. So that was probably the closest game I have had since I started Wi-Fi battling. I've seen a lot of close games online, but that was the first time that anybody didn't have like at least like a 2-0. And not only was it a 1-0, but it came down to the point where literally if I had survived 1 more turn, I would have won. That was just an awesome, fantastic, long, very close game. And Fatal Fatalities, that was fantastic. I had a really good time playing with you, man. And the funny thing about this is that I was thinking when I was building my Meganium of running Protect. It was either Protect, and then I would have switched out either Aromatherapy or Toxic, probably Toxic. But the only reason I went with the Toxic is because Meganium would then be completely walled by Grass types if I didn't go with the Toxic. So, that's so frustrating. I don't know if I should really adjust this team. Just based on his team, because his team is very unusual, but this team does perform a lot better than its previous incarnation, and I think that I'm finally going to evolve it into a brand new team, because I need to switch out that Leopard. Leopard on this team I don't think is really doing too much. Either Leopard or Simisage, and they're both pretty integral to the identity of this team, so I think that if I switch one of them out, it's gonna be considered a brand new team, not a new iteration of an old team. But I can't have this much of a weakness to bug attacks. I'm probably gonna switch out Simisage, to be honest. But anyway, guys, I thought that was a great game. I had a lot of fun playing it. So you guys can leave me a like if you liked it, and until next time, take it easy.